I've seen a bit about Ethan Klein's impending litigation with a few streamers as well as some unknown Redditors. I've also seen portions of the complaint that was filed against Denims and Redditors. As an attorney, I will refrain from giving my raw reading of this entire matter due to ethical considerations, but I can still offer a bit of clarity on a few things. My understanding is that these suits are completely about copyright infringement. If he included other causes of action that could change things. FYI, content creators out there making videos about this lawsuit, when a lawsuit is filed and you assert something related to that as a fact rather than as your personal opinion, you open yourself up to legal action and you may end up affecting the litigation in ways you didn't intend to or ways you don't want to. I've seen a few thumbnails from some big creators calling people thieves when nothing has been determined by anyone yet. That could not only get you sued, it could help the people in court that you presumably don't like. If you are a party to a legal action, I would advise you to clear whatever you say about the legal action publicly with your attorney first. If you just got sued and you don't have an attorney yet, I wouldn't say anything. It doesn't mean you can't share you're upset, stressed, or whatever, but I wouldn't get into the details of anything. There definitely are things you can express, but I prefer to advocate being as cautious as possible when you don't understand the legal ramifications of what you say, and you most likely would have no idea about that if you aren't a lawyer, no matter how much Googling or chatbotting you do. You have to differentiate between the real court and the court of public opinion. Now that this is in real court, your first priority should be the real court because that is where the consequences for all this reside. If you act a fool publicly or say things that will hurt your case, the public might be with you, but you'll hurt your chances in court, and that won't be good. Yes, you can be sued for copyright infringement if you play someone else's content and present it on stream or in a reaction, especially when you present the copyrighted content in its entirety. Even if you take a lot of breaks and add a lot of commentary in between, you could still be sued successfully for copyright infringement. The smaller the portions you use, the more likely your use may be considered fair use, but that is not a given, and there are other factors to consider as well. Note that fair use is a defense, so you could still find yourself getting sued and spending time in court proving that what you did was fair use. In terms of the quality of the reaction, the length of the material, and whether a reaction is truly transformative is something that ultimately has to be decided in court, if it comes to that, and in this situation, it did come to that. Ethan registered the copyright for the video in question with the US Copyright Office because he believed certain streamers would steal his content and he wanted to set a trap for them. I would not advise people to talk about their litigation this way as it could negatively impact their case. Something important to note, just because a copyright is registered does not mean it can't be challenged in court. If it is found that Ethan's video should not be copyrightable, in part or in its entirety, that could have an impact on this litigation. Ethan's video uses lots and lots of video clips that he presumably doesn't hold the copyright to, or that he doesn't have a license to use. The fair use nature of his use of clips could be brought into question. Furthermore, since fair use is an equitable doctrine, specific characterizations of his video presented by the defendants in the respective lawsuits may prevent Ethan from asserting fair use in his video, taking away or diminishing a copyright assertion, which could be a deciding factor in this case or impact remedies. Again, I don't know how many causes of action he asserted. My understanding is this is just a copyright matter. As far as I'm aware, I believe two of the people he's suing were presented in his video with clips those people may have copyright claims to. They may be able to countersue for copyright violations, abuse of process, defamation, false light, invasion of privacy, and intentional infliction of emotional distress. this. There is some online chatter that Ethan has been harassing a few or all of the people he is now suing. I have no idea about that. I haven't looked into that. I don't want to look into that. If that is true to whatever degree, that could definitely impact this litigation in terms of remedies, including whether attorney fees should be recoverable. As far as suing Redditors, believe it or not, yes, legal action can be taken against you for what you post on public forums. The only reason why more people aren't getting sued for what they do online is that the people who could sue them generally don't have the money, the care, the time, etc. That doesn't mean it isn't possible. It is possible for unknown defendants to be brought into litigation during the discovery process. In this case, Reddit, Discord, and whatever other platforms could be subpoenaed for IP addresses and other associated and identifying information. As a practical matter, it's possible they won't be able to point to any person. If they're able to get to the person's ISP, the person may be able to file a motion to quash anonymously to dispute the matter for a number of reasons. If their motion is denied, their identity will be disclosed and the complaint will be amended to include their name, and they will have to be served with the complaint and the summons, which presents its own set of challenges. Like, how realistic is this if the person lives in another country? On a final note, I saw a clip of Hasan Piker reacting to a portion of the Denims lawsuit that was just filed that apparently stated he is the current incarnation of some figure from the past that was friends with Hitler, and went into a lot of detail about Hasan. I have no idea how that fits into the Denims lawsuit or why that would be included in a complaint for copyright infringement. Generally speaking, if you include extraneous or superfluous information in a complaint, the other side could strike it from the complaint and or get parts of the complaint dismissed.